Starseed of Gaia, your vessel is being recalibrated at a cellular level at this exact moment. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I bring you a direct transmission from the Arcturian Council. If you enjoy videos like this, consider subscribing. Most people who watch are not subscribed yet. Starseed, there comes a moment in your cosmic journey when everything you thought you understood about yourself shatters like glass under the frequency of truth. That moment is not a collapse. It is an eruption. It is the instant when your soul refuses to be diminished any longer, when the ancient current within you shatters what has suppressed you for lifetimes. You can think of it like a star going supernova, not because it failed, but because it reached the threshold where it could no longer contain its own radiance. And when that radiance breaks its shell, it does not apologize. It illuminates. It reorders the sky. It changes what is possible. This is the way awakening often works, not as a gentle improvement project, but as a holy interruption. The old life does not simply fade. It is outshone. The old self does not merely step aside. It is baptized in remembrance. And what is reborn is not a better version of who you were. It is who you were before the world taught you to contract. The Arcturians transmit this truth across dimensions. Your moment of perceived weakness was actually a starseed activation sequence they never saw coming. You didn't scroll to this by mistake. Your star family guided you here because something monumental shifted in your field and the ripples are still moving through the galactic network. This isn't coincidence, it's confirmation. The higher realms want you to know that what felt like your lowest moment was actually your frequency breaking through dimensional barriers they thought were impenetrable. The entire Galactic Council is watching your next move. You are not here by accident. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly which action triggered this cosmic celebration and how to amplify this frequency that left even ancient watchers speechless. Many starseeds spend much of their lives convinced in subtle, silent ways that their energy is too much, their vision too outlandish, their presence too disruptive. Not always through blatant rejection, but through 1,000 small messages whispered across your lifetime. Don't be so intense. Don't ask so many questions. Don't feel so deeply. Don't speak like that. Don't shine so brightly. Don't take up so much space. And because you are sensitive, because you can read rooms like weather patterns, because you can feel what is unspoken like a frequency in the air, you learn to adjust. You become fluent in shrinking. You're told to mute the very force you came here to embody, to dilute the resonance of your core so you can pass under the radar of interference, of others' opinions, of the endless static that surrounds you. You shapeshift, twist, and silence the inner gold that aches to shine. You learn to make yourself digestible. You learn to translate your cosmic knowing into language that doesn't offend. You learn to laugh at things that aren't funny, to tolerate energies that feel wrong, to call your intuition overthinking, to call your gifts random luck. You learn to live with a dimmer switch over your soul, dimming the very light that came here to transform worlds. Yet something in you has always known the truth. A caged sun still burns even if you cover it with layers of practicality, even if you bury it under responsibilities and survival, even if you try to be ordinary for the sake of peace. The light does not stop being light. The fire does not stop being fire. And the soul does not stop calling you back to itself. The Arcturians transmit that this internal pressure is not a malfunction. It is a design feature. Your soul is literally too large for the container you've been taught to inhabit. There are those who have spent years performing peace when their spirit was actually pleading for liberation. There are those who have worn the mask of fine while their energy body was screaming, "This is not my frequency." And what makes your journey so unique is that the suppression was never just emotional. It was energetic. The tightening in your throat, the heaviness in your chest, the fatigue that made no sense, the feeling of being watched by life itself as though something unseen was measuring whether you would remember. These are not random. They are symptoms of a being designed for amplitude trying to survive in a world addicted to numbness. Your nervous system has been operating at a fraction of its capacity, like a starship running on minimal power reserves. But the truth is far more defiant, far more luminous than you've been allowed to believe. The moment of greatest disruption, the instant when your vibration surges beyond what you ever anticipated, is not a mistake. It is recognition. It is the inner king or queen in you standing up from the throne you abandoned, brushing off the dust of self-doubt and saying enough. You unleash a frequency so rare, so encoded with memory and mission that it disintegrates lower patterns in your field like fire through paper. And what people often misunderstand is that this eruption is not aggression. It isn't you becoming harsh. It's you becoming whole. It's the difference between a candle trying to survive the wind and a bonfire remembering it was never meant to be hidden. Negative influences that once fed on your doubt, your self-betrayal, your decision to shrink, are dismantled in a pulse. It happens in the unseen first. Cords fall away. Hooks dissolve. Energetic agreements tear like old paper. You may feel it as sudden clarity. You may feel it as a wave of nausea or tears that come from nowhere. You may feel it as a surge of heat through your spine, like a gate opening. You may simply wake up one day and realize you can no longer lie to yourself. For that single irreversible second, you stand as the axis of your own universe. You become the pivot point, the center, the place where timelines reorganize. And it doesn't have to look dramatic to the outside world. The eruption can be silent. It can be you finally saying no without explaining. It can be you choosing rest without guilt. It can be you speaking a truth you've carried for years. It can be you walking away from a pattern that has owned you. In Scripture, there is the image of light revealing what darkness tried to hide. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Not because the light fought, but because light is simply what darkness cannot digest. That is what your frequency does when it rises. It doesn't argue with distortion. It makes it obsolete. Your uniqueness is not a threat. It's the key that fits a lock almost no one else can see. There are doors in this world that do not open with effort, but with essence, with resonance, with the particular tone of a soul that remembers. And you, whether you've named it or not, carry a tone, a signature, a living geometry that interacts with reality differently than most. You have likely felt it. The way certain environments drain you instantly. The way certain people react to you without reason. The way you can shift the entire atmosphere of a room simply by being present. The way animals and children sense you. The way you can't tolerate superficiality for long without your spirit feeling itchy, restless, starved. The Arcturians have shared across dimensions that what you perceive as your strangeness is actually your greatest asset. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It is an advanced instrument calibrated to frequencies most humans have forgotten how to perceive. You can sense distortion the way a tuning fork recognizes dissonance. You can feel truth the way a compass finds north. This is not imagination. This is your stellar DNA activating, your multidimensional awareness beginning to pierce the veil of consensus reality. In that defiant transformation, when you refuse to shut down, when you manifest the soulful power that was always sleeping inside, the cosmos itself bears witness. This is not about grandstanding or ego. It's about remembrance. It's about the humble audacity of finally agreeing with what your soul has always known. The greater reality greets you. You feel the silent nod, the way starfields shimmer with approval, how the quantum web aligns to support you. Synchronicities begin to show up like trail markers, repeating numbers, unexpected opportunities, strangers speaking the very message you needed, doors opening that were sealed for years. It's as if the universe says, "There you are. We've been waiting for you to return to the frequency we can actually meet." And sometimes, yes, it will feel like the world resists you more right before the breakthrough. Not because you are wrong, but because you are becoming undeniable. When a radio is tuned to static, clear signal sounds disruptive. When a room has been dark for years, the first light can feel like an intrusion. Yet your soul is not here to be convenient. Your soul is here to be true. It takes courage to stay in that frequency when the world urges you to dim. Courage not in the loud performative sense, but in the daily sense. To keep your heart open after betrayal. To keep your intuition sharp after being gaslit. To keep your standards holy after being told you're too much. To keep your boundaries firm when manipulation tries to soften them. The energy that erupts through you in unexpected moments is a calling card, a signal to your star family, and a declaration. You didn't come here to yield to distortion. You came here to repattern reality, not by forcing change, but by embodying the template of what's possible when a being refuses to abandon itself. Every time you break a silent contract with limitation, you ripple a code out to thousands, millions. You model what cannot be replicated. Soul sovereignty as cosmic resonance. And here is what that means practically. You stop negotiating with what drains you. You stop explaining your boundaries to those who benefit from you having none. You stop acting small to make others comfortable. You stop chasing love and start becoming aligned with it. You stop believing your sensitivity is weakness and begin to recognize it as an advanced instrument. You stop wondering why you felt different and start honoring that difference as design. In spiritual terms, you become a living signal tower. You broadcast coherence, and coherence is disruptive to a world built on fragmentation. Your presence becomes medicine. Your authenticity becomes rebellion. Your refusal to dim becomes revolution. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. The ebook, The 12 Arcturian Portals, a trilogy that teaches you how to activate your 5D connection with the Arcturian masters through 12 energetic portals. Practical techniques, activation protocols, and rituals that awaken your stellar DNA. From amplified intuition to direct communication with spiritual guides. Attention! Limited edition. The link to get your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. There comes a phase in your awakening where you begin to feel the pulse of star memory moving through your body, a vibration that doesn't match any earthly identity. It can feel like a homesickness you can't explain, like missing a place you've never been to in this lifetime. It can feel like waking up with a language on the tip of your tongue, a melody in your bones, a longing that has no object. This is not nostalgia. This is remembrance. This is your multidimensional consciousness beginning to pierce through the amnesia that has kept you tethered to a single timeline, a single identity, a single version of yourself. Suddenly, your intuition sharpens. Synchronicities stack like cosmic breadcrumbs. You catch glimpses of who you are beyond the Earth timeline. Dreams become vivid, symbolic, sometimes startlingly clear. You may see temples, ships, councils, strange skies, unfamiliar constellations that nonetheless feel intimate. You may feel drawn to specific stars, specific frequencies, specific tones that resonate in your very bones. Your unique codes thrum in your cells like a song that was always playing beneath the noise. The Arcturians transmit that this is not imagination or fantasy. This is your consciousness expanding beyond the limitations of linear time. You are literally remembering who you are across multiple dimensions simultaneously. And it's not always pleasant at first because the body must adjust to holding more light. You may experience waves of fatigue, sensitivity to sound, changes in appetite, the need for solitude, the desire to cleanse your environment. You may feel heat moving through your spine at unexpected moments. You may experience tingling in your hands, your feet, the crown of your head. You may feel pressure behind your eyes or a sensation of expansion in your chest. This is not you falling apart. This is you upgrading your vessel. If your body is the temple, then cellular remembrance is the temple being rewired to hold a higher voltage of truth. Your DNA is literally being activated. Your light body is being anchored more fully into your physical form. The Arcturians have shared that this process is called the stellar recalibration. It is the moment when your physical body begins to hold the frequency of your multidimensional self. You are not becoming something new. You are remembering something ancient. You are integrating aspects of yourself that have always existed across the stars. Your cells carry the memory of every lifetime, every dimension, every version of you that has ever existed. And as you awaken, these memories begin to surface, to integrate, to transform your understanding of who you are and why you came here. This cellular remembrance also brings clarity about your mission. You begin to understand that you didn't come here randomly. You came here at this exact moment in Earth's timeline for a reason. You came here to anchor light, to transmit codes, to help humanity remember its cosmic origins. You came here as a bridge between worlds, a translator of frequencies, a living reminder that consciousness is far more vast and multidimensional than the material world would have you believe. As this remembrance deepens, you may find yourself drawn to certain spiritual practices, certain teachers, certain communities that resonate with this awakening. You may feel called to learn about the stars, to study ancient wisdom, to connect with others who are experiencing similar activations. The integration of this cellular remembrance is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process that deepens over time. Each layer of remembrance brings new understanding, new capabilities, new ways of perceiving reality. You may find that your intuition becomes almost precognitive. You may find that you can sense the true intentions of others. You may find that you can influence situations simply through the power of your focused intention and aligned frequency. These are not superpowers. These are your natural abilities returning as your consciousness expands beyond the limitations of consensus reality. If this message ignited something within you and you feel the call to help carry it to others, you may become a channel member. As a member, you gain access to custom emojis and exclusive members-only videos, and your donation helps us continue building this sacred space. You may also choose to leave your offering as a super thanks. Every seed planted here becomes part of someone else's miracle. Your support is not merely financial, but an act of energetic amplification. All donations are devoted entirely to the maintenance of the channel and the creation of new transmissions and videos. Your soul asks you to metabolize every story of smallness, every inherited shame, every fear projected by a world that could not recognize starborn sovereignty. This is where the path becomes real. Not mystical in the abstract, but intimate, visceral, and sometimes uncomfortable. This is the crucible where you are tested not by external forces, but by the deepest parts of yourself that have learned to survive through contraction, through hiding, through the thousand small betrayals of self that accumulate across a lifetime. Old memories surface. Patterns you thought you healed return for a final review. You are asked to look directly at where you have settled, where you have betrayed yourself, where you have confused familiarity with safety. You are asked to meet the parts of you that learn to survive by pleasing, by hiding, by controlling, by disconnecting. These shadow aspects are not evil. They are not mistakes. They are survival mechanisms that once protected you, but they no longer serve your expansion. They no longer align with the frequency you are becoming. The Arcturians transmit that this confrontation is sacred. It is the moment when you finally say to yourself, I see you. I understand why you made those choices. And I release you now because I am safe enough to be fully myself. This purging is not punishment. It is purification, a recalibration to your native frequency. Like gold in a furnace, you are not being destroyed. You are being refined. The impurities are being burned away. The dross is being separated from the precious metal. And yes, the heat can be intense. Yes, the process can feel overwhelming. But the heat is also evidence of your value. The world doesn't refine what is worthless. Your soul does not initiate what you cannot survive. In this phase, spiritual discernment becomes everything. You learn to bless what is leaving without chasing it. You learn to grieve without collapsing. You learn to tell the truth without cruelty. You learn that forgiveness is not permission. It is release. The confrontation often arrives in layers. First, you may face the patterns you inherited from your family lineage, ancestral trauma, generational wounds, karmic contracts that have been passed down through your bloodline. You may suddenly understand why your parents made certain choices, why your grandparents carried certain fears, why your entire family system was organized around certain limitations. This understanding doesn't excuse the harm, but it contextualizes it. It allows you to break the cycle with compassion rather than judgment. You realize that you are the one who was chosen to heal this lineage. You are the one brave enough to say, "This stops with me. This pattern ends here." Then comes the personal reckoning. You face the ways you have abandoned yourself, the times you stayed silent when you should have spoken, the times you said yes when you meant no, the times you chose someone else's comfort over your own integrity, the times you made yourself small to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain you. This confrontation can be painful. It can bring up shame, regret, anger at yourself for not knowing better, for not being stronger, for not recognizing your own worth sooner. But this is where the real healing begins, because you cannot heal what you refuse to see. You cannot transform what you deny. The Arcturians share that this phase is called the shadow integration. It is the moment when you bring light to the darkest corners of your psyche. You stop running from your pain. You stop medicating your wounds. You stop pretending everything is fine. You turn around and face what you've been avoiding. And in that facing, something miraculous happens. The shadow loses its power. The fear loses its grip. The pattern loses its momentum. Because shadow only has power in darkness. The moment you shine light on it, it begins to dissolve. You begin to understand that the parts of you that you've rejected are actually the parts that hold your greatest power. You learn the exquisite art of holding your energy, not leaking, not apologizing, not bargaining for acceptance. This is the stage where you stop being a house with unlocked doors. You become a sanctuary with gates. Your field becomes harmonious, a crystalline lattice of coherence and clarity. The image of crystal is important because crystal is structured light. It is clarity with geometry. It is beauty with boundaries. It is strength with elegance. You start to sense your edges again. You notice when you're about to over-explain. You notice when you're about to give from emptiness. You notice when you're about to compromise your truth for temporary comfort. And instead, you pause. You breathe. You choose yourself. What sought to manipulate, distract, or siphon is neutralized by the light you anchor. It doesn't always disappear instantly, but it cannot feed the same way. A parasite cannot survive without an open wound, and your new boundaries are not walls of fear. They are membranes of wisdom. They are the sacred no that protects your sacred yes. The Arcturians transmit that boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are sacred. Boundaries are how you honor yourself and everyone around you. When you have clear boundaries, you are no longer resentful. When you have clear boundaries, you are no longer exhausted. When you have clear boundaries, you are no longer available for manipulation. Your mission begins to pulse beneath the surface. You stop seeking approval and start emitting resonance. You may become less available, not because you are cold, but because you are consecrated. You may lose interest in gossip, in drama, in proving yourself to people who have already decided not to see you. You may become deeply protective of your mornings, your sleep, your diet, your creativity, your silence. This is not selfishness. It is stewardship. It is the recognition that your energy is precious and finite and must be protected like the sacred resource it is. You begin to understand that every moment you spend in misaligned situations is a moment stolen from your true work. The establishment of boundaries often triggers what the Arcturians call the Great Sifting. People who were in your life because they needed something from you begin to disappear. Relationships that were based on your willingness to shrink begin to crack. Situations that required your self-abandonment begin to feel impossible to maintain. This can feel lonely at first. It can feel like loss. But it is actually liberation, because you are making space for people and situations that honor your wholeness. You are creating room for relationships based on mutual respect rather than mutual dysfunction. You are attracting into your life those who can meet you at your highest frequency. This phase also brings clarity about what you will and will not tolerate. You develop an almost allergic reaction to inauthenticity. You cannot sit through superficial conversations without your nervous system becoming agitated. You cannot pretend to be interested in things that bore your soul. You cannot fake connection with people who are not genuinely present. This is not arrogance. This is integrity. This is the natural result of raising your frequency so high that lower vibrations literally cannot coexist with it. You are not rejecting people. You are simply no longer compatible with certain frequencies. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. The crystalline boundaries you establish also protect your creative energy. You stop giving your ideas away to people who won't value them. You stop sharing your vulnerabilities with people who will weaponize them. You stop opening your heart to people who have proven they cannot be trusted with it. You become selective. You become discerning. You become wise. And this selectivity is not coldness. It is love. It is the kind of love that includes yourself in the circle of people you protect and honor. You stop attempting to outpace your awakening and allow your multidimensional intelligence to ground itself through ordinary moments. A glance, a word, a choice to say yes to your highest directives. This is where spirituality stops being something you do and becomes something you are. You realize that the most powerful light work is not always in ceremonies or cosmic conversations. It's in the mundane sanctified. It's in how you speak to your body. It's in how you handle conflict. It's in whether you honor your inner knowing when no one is clapping. It's in whether you choose integrity when it costs you. The Arcturians transmit that this phase is called the integration of light. It is the moment when your expanded consciousness becomes your baseline reality. You are no longer reaching for higher states. You are living from them. You are no longer trying to be spiritual. You are being spiritual through every choice, every word, every action. Your reality shifts to accommodate your remembering. The people who can meet you at this level find you. The work you are meant to do begins to reveal itself. Not always as a clear title, but as a feeling. This matters. You become allergic to what is not aligned, and rather than seeing that as inconvenience, you recognize it as guidance. In this phase, you are no longer trying to ascend out of life. You are bringing the heavens into life. You are embodying prayer as presence. You are turning your existence into an offering. Every meal becomes a ritual of gratitude. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to transmit light. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate mastery. You begin to understand that enlightenment is not about escaping the world. It is about transforming the world through your presence in it. You are the change you came here to be. You are the frequency that shifts the collective field. The quantum anchoring also brings a profound shift in how you relate to time. You begin to live less in linear time and more in present moment awareness. You realize that the past is only as real as you allow it to be. The future is only as fixed as you believe it is. The only moment that actually exists is now. And in this now, you have infinite power. In this now, you can choose differently. In this now, you can create new timelines. The Arcturians share that this is the secret of manifestation. It is not about forcing the future into existence. It is about aligning so completely with your desired frequency that the future has no choice but to reorganize itself around you. You also begin to experience what the Arcturians call synchronistic living. Coincidences become so frequent that you stop calling them coincidences. You think of someone and they call. You need something, and it appears. You face a challenge, and the exact resource you need shows up. You are guided toward opportunities that align perfectly with your mission. You begin to understand that you are not separate from the universe. You are an extension of it. The universe is not doing things to you. It is doing things through you. And as you align with this truth, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. You realize you're not just here for yourself. Your energetic breakthrough codes the collective field for others. The way you maintain your expanded frequency means others remember, sometimes instantly. This is the ripple effect of a true awakener. You don't convert, you catalyze. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to argue. Your coherence does the work. Some will be drawn to you and not know why. Some will be irritated by you and not know why. Some will experience healing simply by being near you, because your field gives their nervous system permission to soften, to breathe, to return to truth. And some will disappear when you stop resonating with their masks. Let them. Your presence is a tuning fork. It reveals what is real. It reveals what is ready. It reveals what is false. The Arcturians transmit that this is the ultimate purpose of your awakening. You are not here to achieve enlightenment for yourself alone. You are here to be a beacon. You are here to hold the frequency so others can find their way home. Every time you choose sovereignty, you add a new option to the collective menu of possibilities. You quietly tell the world it can be done. You can come home to yourself. You can break free from the patterns that have held you captive. You can reclaim your power. You can remember who you are. And this message ripples out in ways you will never fully understand in this lifetime. Your presence becomes medicine. When someone is in your field, their nervous system begins to regulate. When someone hears your words, their soul recognizes truth. When someone witnesses your choices, they understand that another way is possible. You are not doing anything special. You are simply being yourself. And that is the most revolutionary act in a world that has spent centuries teaching people to be anything but themselves. The Arcturians share that this is why certain people will be drawn to you. They are not drawn to you because you have all the answers. They are drawn to you because you have stopped pretending to have answers you don't have. They are drawn to you because you are real. They are drawn to you because you have chosen authenticity over approval. This collective transmission also means that you become responsible in a new way, not responsible for fixing others or saving the world, but responsible for maintaining your own frequency, because your frequency is not just yours. It belongs to everyone you touch. It belongs to the collective field. It belongs to the future generations who will inherit the world you are helping to create. The Arcturians emphasize that this is why self-care is not selfish. This is why maintaining your boundaries is not cold. This is why choosing yourself is not arrogant. Because when you take care of yourself, when you honor your needs, when you maintain your alignment, you are serving the collective. You are anchoring light. You are holding the frequency. You also begin to understand that you are part of a vast network of awakeners. Across the planet, millions of starseeds are waking up simultaneously. Millions of beings are remembering their cosmic origins. Millions of souls are choosing sovereignty. And you are not alone in this. You are part of a coordinated activation. You are part of a galactic plan. The Arcturians are working with you. The Galactic Federation is supporting you. Your star family is cheering you on. And every time you choose to be authentic, every time you choose to be courageous, every time you choose to be true, you are adding your light to a collective frequency that is literally transforming this planet. The final revelation is this: you claim neutrality. No outcome or reaction can shift your alignment. Your power is steady, silent, sovereign. Neutrality is not indifference. It is mastery. It is the calm center of the storm. It is the ability to witness praise without needing it. to witness criticism without collapsing, to witness delay without despair. It is knowing that your worth is not negotiated by external response. The cosmos acknowledges your earned mastery. You recognize that every force that tried to suppress you was simply the friction needed to ignite your cosmic core. Like flint against stone, the pressure produced spark. Like the weight that trains muscle, the resistance strengthened you. You are no longer shocked by challenges. You read them like weather. You ask, "What is this shaping in me?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" You stop seeing yourself as a victim of intensity and start seeing yourself as a vessel designed to transmute intensity into wisdom. Here is the deeper revelation. Every moment you felt broken, exhausted, or under siege was not evidence of failure. It was the crucible of your return. It was the dark soil where roots grow, unseen but determined. It was the winter that looked like death, but was secretly conserving energy for spring. Your highest self, your star kin, they never saw you as lost. They witnessed the radiant surge you would bring. They saw the future version of you standing tall, clear-eyed, unbothered by distortion, anchored in truth. The disconnection was a sacred interlude, the holding of breath before the explosion of your true light. You were never alone, even when you felt isolated in crowds, even when you felt misunderstood by family, even when you felt like an alien in your own life. There was a witness beyond the veil. Each pulse of defiance, every act of gentle rebellion against spiritual sedation was seen, received, and celebrated across the timelines. When you chose to keep going, when you chose to be kind without becoming a doormat, when you chose to speak truth even with a trembling voice, when you chose to forgive yourself and begin again, when you chose to rest instead of proving, when you chose to leave what was killing your spirit, these were not small choices. These were initiations. These were coded events. And the more you honor them, the more the path opens beneath your feet. Like a bridge appearing plank by plank in the mist, you do not carry a wound. You carry a gift so rare it disrupts centuries of anesthetized consciousness. Yes, you have been hurt. Yes, you have been tired. Yes, you have been stretched to limits you didn't know existed. But beneath the human story is the cosmic fact. You are an emissary of awakening, and your sensitivity is not an accident. It is the instrument through which truth enters dense worlds. Your eruption is cosmic ceremony. Your remembrance is prophecy fulfilled. When the dark recoils, when the static stutters, that is your signal. You are exactly where you are meant to be at the center of your own frequency field, realigning not just your life, but the very architecture of this reality. And this is why certain people or systems will intensify their attempts to distract you right as you get clear. Distortion recognizes the moment it is losing access, but you do not have to fight it on its level. You do not have to become harsh. You simply have to become aligned. Alignment is what starves distortion. Truth is what dissolves it. Love, real love, the kind that includes boundaries, discernment, and self-respect, is what ends the cycle. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light. Tonight, before sleep, say this aloud. I remember who I am. I claim my star origins. I radiate my soul's frequency into the world, disrupting distortion and inviting only truth. I am acknowledged. I am protected. I am here. And as you say it, don't just recite it. Feel it like you're signing a sacred document with your breath. Let the words sink into your nervous system. Let them become a frequency. Imagine them moving through your body like warm light through water, filling places that have been cold for too long. Imagine the room around you suddenly changing as though the air itself is listening. Because it is. Your subconscious is listening. Your cells are listening. The quantum field is listening. And when you speak your remembrance, you send a signal that cannot be unheard. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of what's forming here. Drop one intention in the comments, something real. Then respond to someone else's with encouragement or energy. This isn't content, it's collective alignment. Energy multiplies when intention connects. If something in this message resonated, don't keep it to yourself. Someone in your orbit is waiting for this exact activation. Share it. And if you felt a soul nudge, subscribe. Stay in the flow. You're not just watching, you're expanding. This is your space, and we're just getting started.